Hey guys, how's it going? Miso here, back with another Epic 7 video, and today we're going to be going over the newest announced unit, Belian, and her very controversial S2. Now, before we get into things, as always, if you haven't already, remember to hit that sub button, and also ring the bell for notifications. And I'm also doing something a little bit different. I'm streaming on YouTube now instead of Twitch, so be sure to keep an eye out for when I go live. I usually go live around I'd say 12 o'clock PST, 12 a.m. PST, and play for about 2 hours every night. So hopefully I see you guys there. But getting into things, Belian, her S2 is quite the controversial topic. And what I'm going to talk about today is how bad of a design skill it is, in my opinion. And here's the reason why. Getting into it, she decreases the number of souls gained by the enemy by 100%, just passively. She doesn't need to do anything. She just starts the turn doing that. We don't even need to worry about that second part of her skill. Just that first part really is the kind of culmination of this unit and why I think she's such a badly designed unit. So first off, to kind of clarify, this means that you can't gain souls with artifacts like book, tag hell. You can't gain souls by attacking or using skills. You just can't gain souls at all as the enemy. Now, this, in my opinion, is terrible game design because it completely removes a core mechanic of the game without any counterplay. So what do I mean by having no counterplay? Well, let's think about some of the most powerful units in the meta right now. Let's say, I don't know, Arbiter Vildred, always been very strong. But he has counters in ML Haste. So when he dies, you give yourself a huge fat barrier and immunity. Or like Top Model Lulika, where if you use her and extinct him, then he doesn't come back and he doesn't revive. Or something like Sinful Angelica, right? When she has immortality on her, he doesn't revive. Those are very clear counters to Arbiter Vildred. Or maybe let's take a look at one of the newer units, Strays. I wouldn't say he's overpowered, but he's definitely very good at what he does. So he just basically completely removes tanks from the game. But what you can do is you can build a very high HP unit with a lot of attack. Let's say I don't know, Senya. Or you can just do other units like Holiday Euphine or something like that. Use that as their highest HP unit with high attack, and he won't be ignoring a ton of your defense. But the other thing is you can also just kill him before he attacks, right? That's another valid counterplay. But with a unit like Belian, the moment that she gets picked, right, and you don't ban her, you immediately lose access of souls from book and also skills. You just can't do that at all. And that's one reason why I think she's so problematic. You just can't counter her. And there will probably be never any units out there that are going to be able to counter her unless it's like a specific unit built to counter this effect, right? So that's just very bad game design. It just completely takes something, makes it obsolete, and you can't counter it. The other piece is that if you think about it, souls and soul burning is a core mechanic of the game. Every unit gains souls. Every unit uses souls for their soul burn. But now you put Belian in the game, you get rid of that core mechanic completely that this game has been balanced around, built around since day one. Let's use an example from real life, right? Let's say you're playing a game of basketball. In a game of basketball, your goal is to score as many points as you can and prevent your opponents from scoring those points. You can do that by doing things like, shooting 2 points, 3 points, passing the ball around to your teammates so they can be, when they're open, they can shoot, or you can mess up your enemies by passing it around, things like that, right? Now, let's say they made some sort of, I don't know, watch or ring or something that you can wear during the game that just completely prevents your opponents from passing. Now they're forced to only gain points by shooting 2 points and 3 points. That is terrible for the game, right? That's basically the situation that we've come into here with the soul burns. It's a core mechanic in Epic 7 designed from day one that every unit interacts with, much like in basketball with passing. And when you pick Belian, you basically can't use this mechanic at all. this is really just a very, very slippery slope. So another game that I used to play, Exos Heroes, I have videos about that on my channel, introduced a unit that basically countered the most meta units in the game. It just basically countered like 5, 6, 7, 8 archetypes of heroes. Just by having that unit in the game, you basically are at a disadvantage for having that type of unit. For example, this compares very closely to, let's say, Book, right? You're at a disadvantage when you're facing up against Belian and you have a book holder, because now your mage or whoever essentially doesn't have an artifact. So that's kind of the level of problematic that this unit brings. Now, why was Belian created? Did we have problems with souls and soul burning? Well, souls and soul burning wasn't really a problem per se, but something that's been happening in high level RTA is that Pavel has become a really, really big problem. And when he has souls, he can basically just burst down your entire team really quickly. So he does his S2 with a soul burn. It reduces your team to very low, if not killing 1 or 2 units, depending on how tanky your team is. And then he S3s, and he 100% with S2, S3 will pretty much kill any unit in the game. And that's why he's so powerful right now in the meta. But the reason why he's so powerful is because he has 2 souls, because he has a book holder. Now, they brought in Belian so that they wouldn't have any souls anymore, and Pavel wouldn't be a problem anymore. And yeah, that works, but it's really an inelegant way to fix this problem, because it, by kind of byproduct, completely destroys this one mechanic in the game, and there's no counterplay again. Now, I also, let's put on tinfoil hat for a second. I kind of think that this wasn't something that was a planned thing. This part of her skill, decreasing the souls gained by enemy by 100%, was not planned. And here's the reason why. Let's put on the tinfoil hat for some reason. So for a second. So in a recent stream with Sky King was doing his podcast, Nui was on the stream, and they were talking about how ML Angie was supposed to be that counter to Pavel, because you'd S2, you'd get skill nullifier because ML Angie's on the other team, then you can't S3 to kill something. But apparently, it hasn't been that great of a solve for Pavel. So I'm thinking what happens is they brought ML Angie in, was like, okay, this is going to solve the Pavel problem. But it didn't. And now they're like, oh shoot, what do we do? Well, let's use this next unit, Belian, and make her, the counter to Pavel. Just completely destroy him by removing souls. And why do I think that? So, think about it this way. Her S2, right? It's got these little claw type of looks for the icon. Now, one of her skills actually does use this claw effect, and that is her S1. So if you look at her S1, when she uses it, right, she has a chance to proc this other skill. I forget what it's called, sorry. That's exactly the claws right there. Give me a second. I'm gonna go back to it. Look at this. It's the claws. But for some reason, that's not the S2. That's the S1. So I'm thinking, let's go to the S1 skill real quick. Yeah, so incursion, right? That's not the S2 skill. S2 skill is shackles of suppression. S1 is incursion. So if you think about this, this is very similar to, let's say, like a Archdemon Mercedes or a Charles or something like that, right? It's an S1 into S2 proc, but it's not with Belian, it's not quite an S1 and S2. It's just S1 into S1, right? Never in the history of the game has there been a skill like this that's like an S1 into S1. It's always an S1 and an S2. And the S2 again, or the S2 that would have been procced would have been this one, Shackles of Oppression. So I'm thinking that last minute they just threw together this ability on her skill. It's like, okay, let's make her S2 do this instead, and then build this claw thing into her S1. I don't know. Maybe it's just me being superstitious or whatever, but if you look at the history of the game and unit design, it's always an S1 into S2 proc. You can say like, maybe it's like Closer Charles, right? His S1 activates like Demolish or something like that, which isn't an S2, but it's caused by the S2 giving him Perception. If you took the S2 out of the game, you wouldn't have this special proc, basically. But with Belian, that isn't the case. You can completely remove that S2, and she'd still be able to do the claw thing. So, I don't know. I think this is not a good look for SmileGate. Like I said earlier with Exos Heroes example, I quit Exos Heroes after they released that unit because I just thought the game was going south. They were doing a terrible decision. This not a good look for the game and the direction it's going. And this is also not a good look for Epic 7 because they could have done something a lot better to remedy the problem. They could have done something like, oh, you know, whenever she attacks, she removes souls, like Tywin, right? Or let's say she starts the fight off and then she maybe halves the effect of any type of soul gain. Something like that, right? You can still gain souls because that's a core mechanic of the game, but it's just slowed down. Or maybe it's something creative like, I don't know, you both get souls equal, like you both start off with equal souls or something like that. If they bring book, you also get book, basically. There were a lot of ways to basically remedy this issue or make it a little bit better, but this really is just like a step too far in my opinion. But I don't know. Hopefully SmileGate will address this before this unit comes out, because I just think it's very bad design by them. But I don't think the chances of that happening are very high. So let me know your thoughts. What do you think about Belian? What do you think about her S2? Do you think that it's a good thing for the game that she's in? You know, if this effect is in the game. Do you think it's bad? Why? Why not? Whatever. Let me know that in the comment section below. As always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to click that thumbs up. I really appreciate it. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace out.